For my second prototype, I decided to use corks as a core. So I reached out to the families of Bay for any and all wine corks they had lying around and received an astounding amount, as you can see to the right. I first started playing around with them, trying to find a natural pattern that worked. I realized I wanted to use some sort of honeycomb shape, so I decided designing that on Vectorworks. It's a bit hard to see on the screen, but I decided on an equilateral triangle pattern. There are plenty of other designs that would work. I just think gluing in lines would be more efficient than circles per se. So I started shaping my 6-foot board. Of course, you can do any length. However, keep in mind that gluing the corks will take a long time, especially if you have a longer board. So after a couple of wonky designs, I decided on this fish shape with a stringer down the middle, as well as 2 diamond-shaped stringers where the foot would usually lay. So you can see that design right here. After a printer malfunction, I couldn't print out my design, so I had to draw it onto a board using a wood template that fit the correct dimensions. So this is the design sketched out on the board. Next, I had to sketch the outline for the board itself. My dad taught me this cool technique called lofting, using a flexible piece of wood and your dimensions to draw out the shape of the board. I basically marked each 12-inch width length laterally from the stringer and placed the thumbtack at those points. Then, placing the wood around those tacks, you have a template that you can just trace. Here is the final template. So once I had my template, it was time to start the long process of gluing. As my mission is eco, strong glue is extremely hard to come by. I tried using the eco resin I already have, but it takes too long to cure. Thus, hot glue was the only option. While it's not entirely eco, as glues even marked to be eco are rarely entirely green, hot glue is relatively eco compared to others on the market. However, if you are looking to be entirely green, the process of doing a corkboard might not be the best idea for you, as I soon discovered. As I got to the stringers, I needed corks that were cut in half. So I used this cork cutting device that you can just use on the table saw, which made the process much faster. This is an up close. You just put the cork in, slide it across the table saw, and it comes out halved. Here I'm just gluing those halved corks onto the stringer. So I have lots of time lapses of me gluing the corks in. They can be pretty satisfying, but if you're looking to do a cork board, just know that it's a pretty long, monotonous task. This is half of the board mostly done. I decided I would figure out the rails after I finished both sides. Here I'm just finishing up the second side. Overall, gluing all these corks took me around 1 full day or 13 to 14 hours of straight gluing. And this is the board after I finished gluing all of the inner corks. Once I glued an outer layer of corks to the board outline, I began sanding. The corks actually sand pretty well. The only problem was how well they stuck together. As I sanded, many corks came undone. As I was using a belt sander, long strokes, especially on the rail, is usually the way to go. However, with the delicate corks, it was hard to do so. Building in the rocker is where I got stuck. I think in the ideal situation, if you were building a cork board, glue the corks onto a built-in rocker, whether that's on top of a mold you build or just the rails with one shell first. I had a very hard time trying to sand shape into the corks. As this is only a prototype of the core, it definitely tells me that if I want to continue using corks as a core, I need to change my entire process. So that's how I built my cork board. Hopefully you learned something that will help you build something similar. Thanks for watching.